Good afternoon, everybody. This is Pat DeLuca. You probably recognize me, you've seen me before. I want to welcome you to our presentation today. Thanks so much for coming and for participating. We've got kind of a packed hour and a half, so hopefully you'll spend the hour and a half with us and take the opportunity to ask questions. We'll be bringing up the developers, we're doing all kinds of fun things. So this is the DP2 version 24, what's new? And we're going to be covering a couple of different things. Before we get started, I just want to review this panel with you. And I'm noticing there's a little bit of a lag, so I will try to pay attention to the audience view. The panel, the control panel for GoToWebinar, your panel should look like this. And the orange arrow will collapse it. The mute button right now, everybody's muted, but when we get to the Q&A, I'll be unmuting you for those of you who want to actually, kind of talk to us. For those of you who want to have questions as we go, please use the question panel down here to provide those questions, and I'll be, moderating and curating those questions during that portion of the presentation. So as we go, please, feel free to use the question pod. You can also put comments and chat in there. We'll do the best we can. And then during the Q&A, the little raise hand icon, which is right there, just hit it and it'll show you that instead of pointing up, it'll point down. In this case, it's raise it up. The other case, it's raised down. And again, please feel free to ask us any kind of questions, and we'll answer those as we get to our last portion of our program. The place that I want to start is talking about what's in the help, and I want to address a couple of things. I want to talk a little bit about version 24. I want to encourage you, though, I know we've been through some transition in the last few weeks, and I'd like to just kind of reinforce a couple of things that are happening and have happened. I know you've gotten quite a bit of email from us in the last couple of weeks or last few weeks. So I just want to remind you that in the what's new for version 24, you'll be able to use the link to the cumulative changes. You'll also see that we have a link to Service Desk. And for those of you who have not already upgraded to version 24, we sent you an email about that script, and you really do need to, because the path to get to the support desk now has been changed. So in order to get there successfully, we want to make sure that you're using that right path. So please go ahead, and if you haven't made those changes, make them. And if you have some concerns about making them, or there's some other things that you want to do, then just let us know. Reach out to us. I'm sure that most of you have an email of one or another of us, and if you don't, then let us know during the Q&A, and we'll go ahead and put that in the chat or somewhere so that you can all get at it. But it's important now, because this is true for Service Desk. It's true for the FTP, the problem reports. There are also script files that we sent you. So without those, installing those little script files, it might take you a little bit longer to get in touch with us, and we don't want that to be the case. We want to make sure that you guys can always reach us when you need us. And if you have any questions about that, again, throw them in the question pod, and we'll answer them at the end of the program. Let me just close that. So there's some kind of general, I have a couple of different things that I want to show you today. Some of them, the features and kind of UI enhancements, I'll show those to you as I go along. The other ones, I'm going to, I'll highlight those. We've got kind of really two places where we've made some changes. The first one that I'm going to go through is some of the things that we've done with the Composites workflow. There's some right-click menus and some couple of shortcuts that I'll show you as we go. And then I'm going to talk about a new product, a new offering from 36pix that we've enabled in DP2. It's another part of our program in terms of being able to reach out directly to third-party apps and other things. So, and I think you'll enjoy it. I've had a lot of fun with it in the last couple of weeks. So we'll take a look at that. Then Kathy is going to be going through what's new with KPro Connect, or Kodak Professional Connect. And then after that, we'll go ahead and open it up for open mic. And so any questions that you have, again, get them into the pod and we'll take them from there. So just a couple of things that I want to talk about I'm using the sample order, as you can see here, because it has all the stuff in it. But there's a couple of things that I just want to show you. One of those is in order items. There's a couple of new things in order items. One of them is the ability to sort. And this was a lab request, so you can now sort by width and by length. And these are, once you do these, you get a warning that says, yeah, if you, once you do it, you can't go back. So it's kind of an important thing. But for labs who are, you know, they're not maybe within a workflow or within the way their output is organized, they have different sizes. This will allow you to sort them by size, either by width or by length. So if you need to send them to the printer that way, you can go ahead and do that. One of the other things that I'll be showing you along with some of the 36 pix things, you'll see that there's now some 36 pix options in here in terms of view, the cloud, what we're calling cloud CT. So I'll show you those as we get into that. But so there are some new things. And I just want to remind you, if you haven't, the last time that you actually looked through the right-click menu items, and I know there's a lot there, on the order items and on the order images, you might want to take just a few minutes. So as an example, you know, as you look through view, we have a lot of different things happening here, and some of them have happened in the last year or so. So that if you didn't attend this or you didn't look at attend the what's new that we did last summer, you may find that there are some things in here that you want. So as an example, you know, we have, of course, the Cloud CT order items, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But, you know, there's the ability to things that have been printed or submitted for printing, those things. And just a little bit of a reminder to refresh, you know, what you're seeing here and where things are. And the same thing is true. We've added a couple of different things have happened in order images. But one of the things that we added, and this is also 36 pix, seems to be spending a little time with us this year, but one of the things that now in 34 that was added as a shortcut is the Q. Once you hit the Q key on your keyboard, it's going to automatically open this, and if you hit enter, of course, off it goes to 36 pix. And so that kind of, we're working on streamlining some of those things so that's a little bit easier and faster for you to get where you want to go. I do want to just point out, for those of you that are using adjust images and using the Q to toggle back and forth between the adjusted and the non-adjusted, when you're in the adjust images and that's the active window, of course, that's going to still work. We haven't replaced that at all. So just some little things that I think will be helpful for you guys to streamline some of your workflows. So some of the other improvements that we've made are really related to the composite workflow. And in the composite workflow, we've got a couple of different things that are happening that, you know, to improve the UI, to improve how you go in and what you need to do. So I'm going to open up the subject info data table. And for those of you, this was actually introduced in 23, but 23 kind of happened between these two. So now in the subject info data table, you have a button that takes you directly to the composite job generator, so that you can go to the composite job generator right from here. It'll give you a list of the related orders. I have a bunch of reorders on here. I'm just going to go to that first one. And when the composite job generator opens now, you've got a couple of things that you know, may be brand new to you depending on what version of DP2 you're on, but that will allow you to, you know, this. So as an example, so now we have the ability to change the quantity for featured composites based on ordered packages, right? So you can manage the number of composites based on the ordered packages, both for regular composites and for featured composites. In addition to that, we've done a couple of other things that, so as an example, for featured composites and for regular composites now, you can merge the order items with the subject packages, right? We always have been able to do that for featured, but we're not able to do that for regular. So you're going to be able to do that. So just some of the things that are happening in the composite job generator that just to kind of help you be able to, you know, get where you need to go a little bit faster. The other couple of other things that I do want to talk about with composites is in the composites. Let me just, actually, I'm going to close that. Say no. Get rid of the render engine. So there's a couple of things that I just want to kind of point these out. And these are things that we've done to make some of these workflows. So if you use composites and you work with composites, hopefully you have discovered the benefits of using the composite layout helper. And one of the things that we've done recently for the composite layout helper is our ability to now change so originally the styles were for countable and non-countable, but now we have the styles so that you can use a separate style for the staff row. So that if you want the kids to be, when one used in one way and the staff to just have a style that's a different style, then you can actually go ahead and do that just in the Manage tab. I'm going to go ahead and close those. One of the other things that we've done in the composite workflow is just to kind of be able to, and maybe this is more than just the composite, it's in the subject info data table. And what's happening here is our ability to copy and paste across rows and columns. So if I were to copy this and I needed it to, be more than, because I can do this, right? But if I hit the control key, I can do this as well. And then I can just paste it. Oops, get out of there. And then I can just go ahead and paste it right in there. So it's just allowing a little bit more flexibility for a copy and paste feature inside of, the subject info data table. And this is actually true for other tables. I'm just using the subject information data table as an example, but you can do it in other tables as well. So I'm going to just cancel that because I don't really need it. Okay, so that's kind of very high level view of what some of the changes that we're making in some of the places that we've added some functionality. The piece that I want to spend the most amount of time on, and I don't want to run out of time because I really do want to show you, is what we've done with the 36 pix. So the 36 pix has, they have a new offering. I've had a blast with it. I got to say this. But basically what it is it's this wonderful, and it's wonderful animated output that it runs in a product in DP2, and I'm going to kind of give you a sense of it. So this is the new interface, and this is along the lines of, and based on that same strategy that we use for the render exports. And Tom's done a really wonderful job of making it so we can pretty much walk through here. I'm going to show you what this looks like first, but I thought what I'd like to do is just start here. This is the, we've got the link right here to the 36 pix cell sheet, so you can go ahead and just kind of get a sense of it. And all of these are personalized gifts. They're really a lot of fun. And we're going to be showing you not just kind of what those look like, but how to do them. And based on this one window, you can do everything right from this window. I mean, there's some things you need to do in the product, which I will show you, but I want to just give you a sense of what these look like. So I've done a number of these, as you might imagine, over the last few weeks. So I'm just going to take a look at it so I can kind of show you. This is the preview before it goes out to 36 pix. Essentially what we do is we render a job. And, and I'll beg forgiveness for the slowness. I am at home. So this is a PNG file. It's a knocked out PNG file. And essentially what it does is we send it to them. We send the render job to them. And this is the return. And you can email those. You can send it as an attachment or FTP it. And they're really a lot of fun. And I'm going to just kind of go through a couple of these so you can see what these are. And one of my favorites is, of course, this one, which is, this is another one. And we're going to go through the process for me to show you how these all work, and I'll, so that you can kind of see them. But this particular one I've already run as a job, so I'm going to show you that as a URL. You can see it just pops out. And this is the animation. And then this is the image out of DP2, which, I just think is a one. Oh, this is my favorite one. Of course, you can tell, right? So that's the offering that's coming out of 36 pix. And so now I'm going to show you what we're doing to facilitate that. I'm going to walk through the interface, and which I believe I opened already. There it is. and kind of show you through the interface what that involved, and then we'll kind of go through and take a look at it. But I just want to give you a high-level sense of what you're seeing in this window. So as we did with the render export, Tom walks you through the process here. And I'm going to go through the process based on the explanation that he's provided. It's really well explained, and Pete's, of course, put in a lot of help so that you'll have a lot, you'll have really be able to walk through it. Listen, if I can do it, you can do it. So, and setting up the parameters and so on. But I'm going to start here, and this is really, enter your credentials, and there's a conversation with 36 pics ahead of time, and you can customize the products that are served out to you based on working with 36 pics to do that. So we've got that right here. And to enter your credentials, of course, just takes you to set up parameters. It's pretty straightforward. And this is, the credentials that we have. I'm actually going to bounce back so I can go through. Just really want to make you aware of what's here. So learn about the CT products that are here. So these are the products that we have in our list. And yours might not be the same because we obviously have some test products and some other things, but there's some really lovely things here. And I'm going to try to show you a couple of different ones so that you can get a feel for it. This is the COVID stay at home. I have not worked with that one. I didn't enable that one for myself. But I'll show you what I mean by that in just a minute. As you can see, there's ocean and storybooks and, waves and swimming and graduation and happy birthday and happy holidays and animal shelters, which is of course the one I just showed you. So what you would do is you just load them or refresh them to see whatever is in your list, right? We're just looking at some sample ones here. So then the next step in the process is actually going to be to modify the product, but I do want to just go back and show you that here we've, Tom's provided a really nice explanation of what's going on, and you can just, from there I can pop in. Now, to go ahead and modify a product, it's a very simple process. And there's a couple of things you have to do with the product, which I will show you. But I do want to just open my products window, so let me just get there. Okay, so I created a category for 36 pics, but essentially I can take any product, and all I really need to do with that product is, drag it in here. And you can see right up here while we're waiting for the preview, you can see right up here that the product is right there. And it gives us, this is the DP2 product name, here's the Cloud CT product ID. And I could have chosen it in another place, right? But I had already populated this one, which is why I'm showing. But if I hadn't populated it and it was a regular one, I can just select it from the drop down right here. And then I've already created an event, but you can create the event as you go. So you just simply go ahead and add the event, right? And there's, depending on what the event is doing, so I have this set up as a series of events, which I'm going to show you, but the first step in that event is to render that product so that it can be sent up to 36 pics. I think you saw that in my preview when it said it was sending. We'll kind of walk through that. And then in this case, I don't need metadata. There's a couple of different layers. Now I can modify that it's okay. I can verify that it's okay. Now, if this hadn't had all of those things, I would have gone ahead and hit the modify button. But I don't need to do that since I've already saved it. And then I'm just going to, again, bounce back here so I can give you a sense. There's using the rendered result. And here's the explanation for that rendered result. Want to show you is that we have it set up right today. You can't, it's not enabled to print to a printer, but I can send it as an email attachment, and I can add the action to an event automatically. I can email it as a link, and I've done these, I'm going to show you. I can upload it to a website. I don't have that set up, but I do want to show you, because right from here I can go to my events window, so I can see all those things, and you can see these are the ones that I already have set up, right? And I did those literally from this window. I did everything. The other one, I could FTP it to a site, or I could do a custom action. And if I click on custom actions, there's a series of examples in here. Subject info is one of the ones that I enabled in my workflow. And that's really, it's that simple. Granted, there's going to be some tweaking and you're going to want to customize things. So as an example, if you're emailing it, you're right, you want to go into your email templates and make sure that your email templates are going to be doing. Tom's got some great samples in there, which I'll show you. And I customized one of them. I left the other one alone so that I could show it to you. So I'm going to go ahead and run one of these. And it runs, you know, to some extent, it looks like any job that you're rendering. And I can, these I've rendered before, but I'll just go ahead and do it. So I'm going to, you know, run the selected. It runs, oh, one of the things I forgot to tell you before I do that. See that? So when you are, one of the other features that was added is when you go to run selected, DP2 is going to tell you of the ones you've selected right up here, the number that were already printed. So it can help prevent you from, you know, printing things twice or, you know, printing things again by mistake, that kind of thing. I forgot to tell you that. That's okay. It works out this way too. I'm going to run selected, and I'm just going to go ahead and run this one. And let's find my worker. There it is. So I know that you see some errors on there, but it looks like they're timeout errors. And it actually did end up sending it. So I'm not going to worry too much about those. But these have more to probably have to do with the fact that I'm doing this from home and that I'm having a little bit of connectivity issues this afternoon. Worked great last night. So you can see, now I have it the logging up to 1, so you can see a little bit more detail. And you can see that it's going ahead and it's telling what's happening. It's basically, you know, kind of reaching out to 36 pics, so to speak. And then it will, DP2, once that render is complete, and once we have the product back from 36 pics, then it'll go ahead and it'll be able to email and send it out, and then we can go check while we're waiting now. Since I've already done this a few times. I'm going to bring up my email. And, whoops, there we go. She's still running. Oops, there we go. And you can see here. So here's the one that I just sent up. Wait for you can tell how much. So this is the one where Tom's included all of the information, the instructions, but you can see here, you know, hello, Sarah Fletcher was the girl, was from the, it's coming from the subject info data table. This is coming from the customer name. So I didn't modify this one other than to allow the, you know, to enable the subject info. And so this is a link to the item, right? So this would take me right out. Now that I have a couple of instances of this going. And then this one here is attachment, is an attachment. And just in a second, you'll be able to see there it is as an attachment in my email. So just as a couple of different examples. But again, I set those up literally right out of that window. I didn't have to do anything else other than, and this is the other than that I want to mention. So other than when you create the product, I'm just going to look at the order item, but when you create the product, a couple of things. So these are GIFs. So the images don't have to be huge, and maybe you don't want them to be huge, right? These are pretty small images, you know, this is the sample order, but the product is also small. I think it was, what is it, was maybe 200. But, or might have been 250 at the outside, you know, because you're not going to need all that image real estate, so it's something to think about. But in addition to that, the one thing that I did have to make sure to do was to enable this as a GIF here in the output spec, right? So I just use the standard path for the image, you know, I put it in order output, you know, but then I manually made sure that it was a GIF. So that's the only other thing that you need to be able to do in order to make this work. So now we can see it's continuing to email all the different pieces. And I'm going to go back to, I just want to see, make sure that I did not leave anything out. I didn't know, oh, I closed those. Well, that figures. Hang on one second. Sorry about that, folks. Okay. So that at a high level is the cloud. See, I don't think I didn't miss anything. Just checking. Oh, I guess one thing to mention is these blue underline links, these all lead to and bring you to, this was just, we did this in the, Tom did this in the render as well, but just so that you know, oh, that's the one other thing. I do want to show you one that requires metadata, and I have a couple more minutes that I can play with. So the storybook, there's some of the products that they have are called, they're calling storybooks. And I'm going to bring this up. This is already a storybook, but I want to show you, this one does require metadata, and it's pretty well explained what you need to do here. But essentially what I needed to do is add a text note. You kind of see that little kind of white bar that goes across this. If I didn't have a text note in the product that I was working with, I simply could add it from here. You don't really need to put anything in that text note other than if you want data that's maybe coming out of the subject info data table or data that you're pulling from somewhere else, and in which case that macro would have to be in the product. But so this is a case where it is metadata. And I'll run one of these. And again, you could do the same thing with verify and modify. You know, it's so well laid out. I think you guys are going to be really pleased with how this flows. But if I were running one of these, do I have the storybook already done? Let's see if I do. Did I leave it up there? Nope. So we're going to have to do it. That's okay. We can handle it. So with these two down here, you can kind of see, I'll just open these up. This is what the product looks like in DP2. It's just the image with her name on it. It's pretty straightforward. I'll go ahead and run this one. And again, it's not going to take any more time to run this one than it will any other one. Oh, it's in post. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Seeing a few errors. Yeah, it's all right. Let's see. There it is. It's almost run. I should start to see the worker pick it up. There we go. So this might take slightly longer. These are a little bit more, the storybooks, which are really cool, it's a little bit more information. It takes a little bit longer, but it won't be too much. There we go. And then once that's run, I'll go ahead and show it to you. I probably have one in my email I could show you, but it shouldn't take that. Oh. Maybe I am going to show it to you that way. Tom's going to explain this to us later.
Yeah, don't panic.
I'm not
That's
panicking.
just an interim. That's an interim status that came back from 36 picks, but
Thank you.
It's continuing on.
Yeah, I see.
These storybooks, they take a little bit longer. It's more like 20 to 30 seconds to do something like that.
And it's polling every 5 seconds, right?
It's actually polling every 10 seconds. If there wasn't more workers running, it might poll in 5 seconds, but the workers only check for work every 10 seconds.
There we
so
go.
If you have one worker, yeah.
Oh, that makes me sad.
So if you've already done this one, you can just right click on that order item to view the URL.
Yeah. You know I've already done all. There we go.
Yep, and that's what's actually generated out on the cloud. And
So
when a customer looks at it, they'll be looking at it from the cloud.
So you can see the child is, and the other nice things about this is that you can see it's repositioned. You know, she's, depending on what the scene is and what the story is. There's one in here where she's upside down. There you go. So it's great fun. And these are really, this one I think was done as a donation, but I'm sure Robert can explain that. And I'm going to hand off to Robert in just a second, actually. So thanks for stepping in, Tom. Appreciate it. And with that, I am going to just pause, and I'm going to ask Robert. I'm going to make Robert the presenter, and Robert can tell you a little bit more about what's happening with 36 Pix and kind of explain what the offering is. So Robert, I am just now making you the presenter. There you go. You should be able to share your screen. There you go.
I hope, can you see my screen? And just make sure we start with that.
Yes.
I'll also, I will show, all right. So what I'll do, I'll just give you a really brief presentation on what Cloud CT is, how can you use it, but more importantly, how we used it with our own school photography business here in Quebec, Canada. And just to give you a bit of a size of the business we run, we do about 410,000 kids currently, and so we used that technology last fall. Was kind of our launching fall with that tech. So I'll share a bit of information with you on that. So I'll start with, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but I just wanted to give you a bit of an idea what Cloud CT is once you log in there. And this talks to DP2. So your product selection here, what you want to offer to your customer will be also shown in DP2, so you can work it through DP2. But here, it's a great tool to look at what's available. Once it's been running for a while, you see what's been, you know, if you look on the left side, you have the quantity order, the performance of the orders and all that. So it's a really fun dashboard to look at the art, but also look at what people are buying. One thing too that's really interesting as a lab is that you can have a program running for you as a lab, but you can also push down the admin to some of your studios. So you can actually offer all the products to your studios. You can select which product get offered to your studios. You have that tiered system that you can play with. So I'm not going to spend a lot more time on this. Obviously, there's a lot more to it, but I just wanted to touch on that to give you a bit of a feel what Cloud CT is and when you log in, what it kind of looks like. How we use it, we've used the product many different ways because we wanted to see where that product was the best fit. I'll actually start with the center element as a standalone product. We sold that product last fall. We sold it as we sold it as a standalone product. We play with pricing quite a bit. We sold it at $199, $299, $399, $499. We're trying to see what was the elasticity on that. So we can share all of that data with you, but there was a lot of elasticity in the sense that it didn't seem to affect the percentage of sales that much by moving the price, let's say from $199 to $299 and all that. But we can share that data if you're interested in knowing more about that. One of the things we've done also, we've done email campaigns to our customers where we basically pre-populated, batch ran it through DP2, then we send it to our customers and they get this nice little newsletter coming to them with already the picture of their kid presented, and they're really, really cool. We got so much traction with our customer base with that, a lot of thank yous. People really, really love that, especially being a lot of people are stuck at home. And these things tend to put a smile on people's faces. The other way to use this product successfully is you just include it in one of your packages to drive some sales to a higher value package. That works extremely well. Also, again, I can share much more data on what we've done on our side. This is, again, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Is more applicable, I would say, to our email campaigns, where if you're going to run an email campaign, I mean, that's fun. You reach out to their customer and you make them happy. But also you want to know what's going on. So you want to know how many were delivered, how many were open, how many were shared, and so on. So we can, through the Cloud CT platform, every time somebody interacts with that GIF, we can record what's going on. So when they're on that landing page where you saw the GIF created with the different share buttons, we can track that. So again, on the marketing of things side, that's one thing that probably gives you a little more value when you know how your customers are engaging with your product. Some of the stuff we've done, we've been using GIFs. Some of them support, like a nonprofit organization. We had a lot of success with this. But I really wanted to show this one because this is one of the products we've got that's so easy to customize. Let's say you are, you know, if your business, your studio is doing a bit of sports stuff, and you say, well, you know what, I'd like to have a green sweater and I want a specific logo on it. These are pretty easy things to customize for us. Obviously, we can do full custom animation. If you have some stuff in mind, we can definitely work together and putting some fun stuff out there. Obviously, everybody wants to know about pricing. So the way this works, it's what do you say in French, à la carte, or as an item, it's 50 cents. If it's cause related, that varies a lot, depending who our partners are. It depends that you might have something you want to support on your side. So that number could be really anything. If you're supporting a cause and you want to collect money and you want us to keep track of it, we can do that with you. If it's something we're supporting globally, you can hop into that Ocean Chat. It's something we're doing with Philippe Cousteau. And actually, on that particular example, the ebook that that Philip and Ashton have written, it is also to support their Earth Echo cause, which is a absolutely great cause, huge youth engagement and so on. This is kind of pricing, but what's very, very important to understand also is that this is kind of the item price point. Now, if you're going to run a marketing campaign or a batch volume program or anything that's batch in high quantity, then we have to talk, because we can run special pricing. Because if you're sending it out to thousands of your customers at the same time, obviously the pricing structure will not look like this. This is really meant as a one-by-one item sold. So if you're running batch or campaigns and all that, we have to talk, because we can offer you per campaign pricing as well. So please reach out for that. Again, you know where to find us. I'm just going to finish off on some of the projects we're working on. Really cool stuff. This year we really want to put a lot of work into supporting World Ocean Day, which is June 8th. The type of product we're going to have, this is just a preliminary sample of what we're working on. And here the blue is changing to darker blue, which is protected marine areas. And that particular case, we might use it with some of the nonprofit we support, but it will also be used just to be shared with your customers. So there's probably going to be a model of this that doesn't need any donation or anything. It's going to be a really cool program that we're putting out. This is something we did for Valentine's Day. We actually sent it. That was a marketing campaign we did with our Green Apple Club. That was really cool. That worked out really well. We looked at that one before we sent that. You might have gotten that. We sent that to our customers for the holidays, where people could put their own pictures. And also, little note is that you can actually use that as a straight code, where people can actually put their own pictures in there to a selfie. So more about this. You know what? When we came up with this one, I don't even want to know how many months ago, but probably almost a year ago, I really thought this thing would be blown over by now, but it's not. But this is something we did a while back, and that's something that we had a bit of fun with. Some of the Beneath the Waves Shark Sanctuary organization we support, and this is one of the rescue programs that we're running currently outside of our industry. The ebook, Pat did a great job at talking about it, talking of it. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. And that's pretty much obviously there's a lot more, but just get in touch with us and we can tell you how that can be an interesting product for you and maybe do things a little differently in 2021.
All right, thank you so much, Robert. Now I'm going to kind of transition. Kathy, you should be the presenter. Very good. Thank you.
Oh, hey there, everybody. This is Kathy. Do you see my screen now?
Yes, thank you. Yep.
And you guys can hear me okay, too?
Oops, we just lost your screen.
Okay.
There we go.
Sorry about that. I'll come on and say hi to you guys. Hi there. Thanks for being here, you guys. Thanks, Robert. And I will segue now into our what's new in version 24 relative to Kodak Professional Connect. And I'll trust that Pat or someone, you'll come on and tell me if you lose me or you can't hear me anymore or something happens to my at-home internet connection. Someone please let me know. So I'll hang out here, guys. I am at our website, kproconnect.com, and I'm just going to take a few minutes up top here to scroll through the web page and go through some talking points with you so that I can remind you about KPro Connect and what it's all about. And then I will switch over and demonstrate the Kodak Professional Connect portal with you. That's our cloud catalog. I want to leave you with a visual of that. And then I also want to leave you with a visual of what the mapping side of the house looks like in DP2 and the advancements that we've made since we last spoke to you last year about Connect and what is new in version 24 relative to integrations and mappings. So first of all, you guys, I want to remind you of our commitment to you to always be working hard on your behalf, always innovating, creating new products to help you grow your business, to help you retain your customer base, to help you grow your customer base, and to help you ultimately reach more consumers. And that's exactly what the Connect solution is all about. And I remind you of that because that is our commitment to you. No matter our ownership, no matter our past endeavors, we will stay committed and true to you by innovating solutions that help you grow your business. And that's what Connect is all about. I'll remind you that Connect is our cloud-based integration solution, which is all about one connection that you guys make to our Connect Cloud catalog, and one integration that third-party solutions, online galleries / storefronts make also to our cloud catalog Connect solution. And as you know, as you remember, Connect came about because of the hassles that can be involved and some of the roadblocks that can be involved with you making multiple connections, multiple separate connections with individual third-party online galleries. Our mission was to remove the hassles, streamline the process, reduce the costs, and make it easier to form these partnerships. You know, and I'll also acknowledge that we know that for some of you, you have many partnerships already with online storefronts and you know, gallery solutions, and we commend you for that. We know that that speaks volumes that in you doing that, in your efforts, your IT efforts, your API efforts of making those individual connections and forming those partnerships, that speaks volumes to your commitment to your customers, to providing them with the latest online engaging selling solutions. And you know, we support that and we want to enable that opportunity for all of you to more easily form those partnerships so that you can ultimately reach more consumers. That's what it's all about. And you know, in this ever-changed world that we all exist in now, I don't even use the word the ever-changing world, because we were already on that migration path to online engagement with consumers, online selling with consumers. We were already well established on that path. I mean, all of us as an industry, I'm referring to. But now with the events of the last year, I mean, we have arrived. We have arrived to this, in this new shifted world and space where that clearly is the expectation of consumers. And, you know, all we can do as an industry and providers in the industry is adapt and completely stay focused on the end consumer, right? And understand their needs, their expectations, their mode of operation, which is in an ever engaging online world, and adapt to that. And you know, another thing, you guys, we've had the pleasure of working directly with a ton of photographers lately with our other innovative solution that's available to photographers directly. It's called Kodak Professional Select, and that's an artificial intelligence automatic culling piece of software that's designed to save them time in that portion of their post-production workflow, their culling and photo selection. And, you know, during this downtime for them, you know, it's great. They've had the opportunity, as I'm sure you know, they've had the opportunity to educate themselves, find out what tools are out there for them so that they can better like hit the ground running when business does start to reopen for them. But this is what they've told us, and I know you've heard it too, that you know, even they've reached out to past clients that maybe they've delivered their images on a jump drive to past clients, but now they know the way to reach these clients is with these engaging online selling platforms. And for some photographers, they're using them for the first time, and they are sharing past events with their former clients, and their clients are incredibly grateful, especially now. Their clients are able to share those events with friends and families in an easy, you know, one push of a button platform. So, I mean, there's no way that more photographers are interested in these engaging and selling platforms. There's no doubt that consumers are more interested in being reached with these online selling platforms and sharing their galleries with friends and families that way. So, you know, because of this shift, because of the events of the past year, we think Connect is a more viable solution for you today than it even was last year. And if Connect can help you guys form those partnerships, right, with these online galleries and storefronts more easily, and I'm just going to start to scroll down the page here, everyone. I'm going to maximize the screen for you and go off camera. So I'll just scroll down the page here. By the way, this is kproconnect.com. And it's all about that one simple, centralized integration. And we call it Partnerships Made Easy because we're removing the hassles. We're removing the hassles of creating separate integrations with each and every partner, with each and every online gallery solution by connecting one time to the cloud catalog, which is Connect in the cloud. You're eliminating that need of integration after integration after integration. And think about it this way: one catalog to maintain, so that when you add products to your product offerings, when you remove products, your legacy products that are no longer available in your catalog, you're doing it in one centralized location. So I use that word all the time. I talk about, you know, that one integration, and I just can't stress it enough with you guys that that's a huge differentiator, you know, we think with the Connect solution, of course. And then, you know, once the partnerships are formed in the portal, that's when Connect, you can probably see my mouse over here on this third graphic here in this Partnerships Made Easy section. That's when Connect acts as a transactional database, like a decoder ring of sorts, to successfully communicate orders from any online gallery to you as the lab once those partnerships are formed. A winning solution, solving the pain point that we heard about, not just from you guys, not just from the lab side of the house, but of course we heard about it from the online gallery storefront side of the house. They have long integration lists that they are doing their best to get to the labs that want to be a part of the mix. I mean, you're photographers, right? Of course they want to remain loyal to you and true to you, but they also want to be out there engaging their clients with these online selling platforms. And at times they're driven to the labs that are offering the online selling platforms. So we want you guys to be able to offer these winning solutions to your current customer base. We want you to be able to win over new customers by offering the right tool sets and forming these partnerships in a more streamlined, singular fashion through K-Pro Connect. And in light of what's happened, you guys, over the course of the last year, we want to remove even a further hassle for you and make it easy to jump on board. You might remember a little bit about our business model. I'll, of course, share that with you. We did have a one-time startup fee of $2,500, but currently, we are eliminating, we're removing that roadblock for you guys in light of the challenges we've all been faced with over the course of the last year. We're eliminating that right now so that you can jump on our integration schedule. We'd love to put you on our schedule. In doing so, certainly know that we can have a conversation with you guys and your staff there, you know, a conversation before we get started to make sure that we answer and address all your questions. But now would be a perfect time. We hope it's an opportune time for you in your schedule to dedicate a resource to learning how to work the system. We think it's a small learning hurdle that you'll have to jump with us a little bit, but it's, I'll show you in just a second here when I switch over. I think you'll see that the integration process is very streamlined and straightforward, especially once you integrate with a couple of catalogs. One thing I haven't mentioned yet, you guys, I usually do up front, and I've just forgotten until now. I want to make sure that you're aware that this singular cloud catalog is always uniquely yours, your differentiated products. Now, when we spoke with you last year, K-Pro Connect was wired for basic single node products, your photo prints, your gallery wraps, your unit prints. Since then, now in light of version 24, we're wired for volume products, for multi-node products, multi-image node, multi-text node. That's been a huge advancement in the solution that we know many of you and also many third-party online gallery volume providers have been waiting for. So we're very excited about version 24 to offer you and the galleries the opportunity to connect to and integrate with more sophisticated products, basically multi-image and multi-text node products. I'm just scrolling through the web page here. So basically, guys, when we eliminate that one-time startup fee, right, $2,500, and that's eliminated for you now if you sign up and at least get on our integration schedule. Like I said, we can have a conversation with you before we get started to make sure that we answer all of your questions. And there's a sign up button right on this page. And that basically, guys, it just puts us in touch with you. You fill out your sort of lab information form. We set you up as, you know, a lab versus an online gallery, a third-party vendor, and then that just starts our process of the conversation and getting you on our onboarding schedule. But once we eliminate, obviously now we're saying that startup fee, it truly makes us that singular order fee per order transaction fee. And depending on the number of partnerships, depending on the volume that you're pushing through Connect, I don't have the exact numbers that equate to our per order charges of anywhere as low as 10 cents up to 30 cents. We think is probably a sweet spot, 10 to 30 cents based on your volume that is coming through to you, based on the number of partnerships that you have formed through Connect. The range is anywhere from 10 cents up to 50 cents per order, but we truly do think with multiple partnerships and, you know, kind of a nominal throughput of volume, you'll be anywhere from that 10 to 20 to 30 point mark, especially in the volume side of the business, maybe portrait and wedding you know, the per order rates might be a little bit higher there. But anyway, that would be the only fee in the system. You guys know better than we do firsthand if you do have existing integrations outside of Connect, obviously, one-on-one integrations where you're maintaining different catalogs and updating different catalogs. We've heard a lot about their business models, whether it be a startup fee that's also inclusive of annual fees or maintenance fees for updates to the system, and sort of ongoing fees that might be involved with one-on-one integrations. I mean, I don't mean to discount you guys one bit, the hard work that you've already formed if you have those partnerships. I mean, again, it's all about you enabling your customer base with these awesome solutions that help you reach more consumers. I just sort of want to, you know, differentiate, but you guys know better than I do the ins and out of those business commitments that you have made and you have with those ongoing individual relationships with those integrations. But we think Connect is all about eliminating a lot of the hassles involved with separate integrations, maintaining separate catalogs, perhaps dealing with, you know, maintenance costs and annual fees. And, you know, we wanted to streamline that and make it easier for you. And that's what Connect is all about. So I'll switch over, guys, now, just so that I can leave you with, I mean, I probably need a few more minutes before I can say leave you, but I just wanted to make sure that you had the address here, kproconnect.com. If you do want to get started, this is one way to do it. It just sends us a notification in the system, everyone, that lets you know you want to, you know, discuss the onboarding opportunity and get on the schedule and have a one-on-one, you know, meeting with us. You guys know how to get in touch with, obviously, me another way too. If you want to do it that way, you can talk to your account manager as well. So let me log in here as a lab, and I will remind you what the portal looks like. I'm logged in as a lab, and this is the dashboard. This would show activity, you guys. It would be really cool. You know, it would be order by partner. It would be order by product category. It's going to show charts and graphs that are relative to the types of products that are hot and coming through to you and being ordered, and the galleries that they are being streamlined to you through as well. These are the catalogs. This is what our catalog looks like now. There's might be some test categories in here because I'm logged in as a test lab in the system currently. Oh, by the way, guys, sorry, I meant to mention this before. If you have questions, go ahead and put them in the question box, and then when we switch at the end over to our open mic portion of the program, I'll be able to take a minute to respond to those to you guys. You can also ask your questions in the open mic forum too, but just so you don't forget, go ahead and jot those questions down if you have them into the questions box, and that'll give us an opportunity to remember those questions, to respond to your question individually. And again, when we open up the mic, you can ask your questions relative to Connect or anything that we've talked about today at that time as well. I'll just spend another couple minutes getting through this content first. So this is currently our list of catalog offerings, but really the sky's the limit. I have some volume type products in my catalog, and I'm just scrolling through. There are some samples in here, so forgive these kind of samples that are in here, you know, whether it be keychains or home plates or banners or memo pads or mugs and drinkware. You know, really, guys, the sky's the limit when it comes to complex products and duplex products at the moment anyway. So we, as administrators in the system, this K-Pro Connect can be immediately responsive to the types of products that you might need in your catalog, you know, relative to the online gallery that you're partnering with. You know, K-Pro Connect is not your be-all, end-all of every product, you know, you offer in the lab, but it's really a filtered catalog based on the relationships that you have with online gallery vendors and the products that they offer, you know, through their portal, through their selling platform. So it's a streamlined set of products. It's and you always have to, of course, think of the end consumer, and it's a streamlined set of options, whether it be finishing options or mounting options. So, you know, it's not everything that you may offer as a lab and fulfill as a lab, but it's that streamlined set of offerings that you offer through any online galleries platform. So let me just give you an idea here. I'm just going to go into my photo prints category just to give you a peek at what the interface looks like. I'm just going into photo prints that has already been established, and instead of moving from left to right, I'm actually going to just go back through the tabs. I'm scrolling down just to go back through the tabs at the top of the screen. You can see that I'm on mounting. I'm going back to, you know, finishing and paper types here too, and sizes. I just want to backtrack enough so that I can show you what it would look like. I'm using photo prints as an example, you guys, but it would look very similar regardless of the category that you're building up in the system, whether it be a button or a keychain or a memory mate or a trader card. The process would look very similar. Now, the caveat there is when it comes to your memory mates, it's yours, you know, it's uniquely yours. You're the only one that can see your unique products, your differentiated products. Other labs can't see your differentiated products. The online gallery that has got galleries that are a part of Connect, they have the opportunity to peruse your catalog and your catalog offerings, but they are truly products that are yours uniquely. Your differentiated products are what's available to you and any online gallery vendor in the system. So from the side, this is how all the categories work. So I'll just make it simple here. The size tab, sizes are selected here. If you guys need a unique size for a unique product, a bookmark or something, we can be immediately responsive as administrators in the system. We can add the size you need. We can add the product category that you need. We can add the option that you need, the finishing, the mounting, and whatever it is that you need in this singular catalog. So I've mentioned that word a few times, and it's very key to understanding the system, that it's one centralized catalog. Paper types, you can basically, as you peruse through any catalog, you can choose the paper types to include or not include. And we have ways, this is a great advancement in version 24 as well, you guys. We have ways where you can basically indicate here in the Connect portal how you feed your business system. So we know for some of you that, for example, when it comes to paper types, you might have different products that are paper type driven. So you might have an 8x10 on luster product, and you might have an 8x10 metallic product. If you're wired that way to your business system, then we have a way here in the portal to configure it that way and ingest it into DP2. If you are set up another way where you have one standard 8x10 and then your luster or your metallic are options on top of that singular product, we have a way in DP2 so that you're wired that way for your business system. That's another big advancement that we made over the course of the last year in K-Pro Connect, so that we can help you cover or integrate the way you need to be integrated based on your products in the lab, your options in the lab, and how you feed your business system in the lab. So let me just go through here, guys. I'm running out of time here. I want to make sure that there's enough time for the open mic section, but you can see what it looks like just to give you a visual here in the portal. You can pick and choose sizes for options, sizes for mounting, sizes for finishing. You can, make some choices here that will drive the way you map things in DP2. And once you're done here with configuring your catalog or catalogs, it's as simple as publishing. And then you've just published an XML file on the server. And then your next mode of operation would be here in DP2. And I can't go through this in detail, obviously, at this point, you guys, but we do have a KPro Connect dedicated taskbar in DP2. The development team has done an amazing job of, ingesting, giving you tools that you ingest the catalog with. DP2 keeps track of what products are new, what products have changed, what products have been deleted on the portal where I just came from, the Kodak Professional Connect portal, relative to the configurations in DP2. Inside of DP2, you would, for example, you would take one of your products in DP2 and mine are on my prints category. I don't know where my 8x10 is. I usually use that as an example. I'll use this 8x10x6, close enough. You would just take your DP2 product and map it to the product. We also have this really cool way of creating what's called a redirect so that you can say, oh, I thought I had paper options here, but you could say, okay, for my 8x10 that's on metallic, I don't have that one in here yet, I didn't set it up, but on my 8x10 for metallic, I need to actually map to a different DP2 product. So as I mentioned before when I was talking about it, we now in version 24, we have you covered. However it is that you map your products and or your options and communicate to your business system. And we learned a lot, working with our beta labs last year and taking some of the downtime during your busy time for us, downtime for us so that we could advance the solution for you and be ready now for you to jump on board. So whether it's a drag and drop operation, whether it's a redirect, you guys, whether it's mapping your options to your DP2 options that you might already have in DP2 because you have other integrations. My gosh, there's a lot to show you here, and I'll exhaust it right here just by showing you this one example. If you don't have existing options in your system because maybe you don't have previous integrations, we've given you ways to populate DP2 with brand new options based on the options coming in from the KPro Connect world. So in light of leaving some time with the developers, everyone, I'm going to end right there and just invite you again to get started with us your way, whether you reach out to me or you get signed up at kproconnect.com or talk to your sales rep. We can schedule that one-on-one conversation to answer your questions first. And we look forward to hopefully get started with you with Connect so that we can help you guys form those partnerships and grow your business by reaching more consumers. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Pat.
Thank you so much, Kathy. I learned a few things in there too. It's really nice to see the whole flow. And I will invite the team to turn on their webcams. And we have got a couple of questions here that we can get started with. Well, also for, oops, I guess I can start by turning my own on, right? Thank you, Pete. There we go, Tom. So if you have questions and you don't mind kind of asking them out loud, go ahead and raise your hand and then I can just unmute you. Robert, there's one question, Pete, that I want to start with you, and I tried to send you a note. And that is, I didn't install the scripts. Can you resend the links?
Yes. Yeah.
So especially if you don't have the new URLs to the portal, to the service desk portal, or for the email or any of those things, and you're not yet upgraded to version 24, then definitely reach out to one of us so you can at least get squared away. Okay?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too, because if you have upgraded to version 24, it's all in there. So you can just go to help and then service desk, and it'll open up the Sign No Promise service desk. If you do help problem report, it'll show what our new email address is right there. And if you guys want to jot it down, it's dp2-support@pro.signopromise.com, and that'll get it right to us.
Okay, thanks, Pete. Okay, so I'm going to start with the questions for you, Robert, because I think there's a bigger question for you, Tom, in terms of the custom scripts. So, Robert, these are just kind of questions about a little bit of detail. So the first question is there an expiration on the link by default?
No, we haven't built an expiration, but it's something that can be controlled by the DP2 user on the platform. They can turn on or off the actual product, just a checkbox that you can make it active or inactive very easily. Now, if we're working with an organization, there might be a case where we're not working with a specific organization. In that case, we would give you a lead time probably of a few months to say, that campaign will finish by a certain date. But normally, unless it's linked to another organization, there's no real expiration date, especially if we own the artwork, there wouldn't be any expiration date.
Okay. So the next question is there what's the preferred pixel size of the image sent to you as a knocked out PNG?
Actually, what's nice with these GIFs is that they're the actual GIF itself, it's not a huge file. We're doing them mostly 800 by 800. We're actually we might be going a little smaller than that because we realize that for most people, they're just going to look at them on their phone, so they don't need to be a lot bigger than that. In terms of any normal image will be. We don't need a lot of resolution. We just need your normal, school day picture will do absolutely great, because these GIFs tend to be a lot lower resolution than what we do as a professional studio.
And actually, Tom, I'm going to ask you to maybe comment on that, because I know you and I talked about the file sizes in DP2, and we talked a little bit about maybe not making those too big.
Yeah, I mean, their product, if it's 800 by 800, the head that you're going to see in there, maybe it ends up only being 100 by 100. But I don't think you want to fine tune it that much. Send something that's maybe 800 pixels, 1,000 pixels, or whatever, and you'll get great quality through the system. They'll resize it down to fit. You could get too small, but you'd be hard pressed to produce a layout that small.
Okay, thank you. So is it preferred to send as a link or as an attachment?
Good question. We've done both. We've sent them by. It really depends on how you reach your customer. I mean, text works really well, but also email with an email link. That's very nice, because then you can retrieve that link from any device. You can embed it in your email. Again, we've done permutation, because we've done different campaigns for different people and all that. It's really. Our product can be supported in different ways, being a link, being embedded in an email. Let's say you're using MailChimp as your email campaign tool. I mean, you can embed the actual GIF in there. You can put a link in there. It's really up to you at this point.
Okay.
One thing I'll add is is there's some products which are storybooks that can only go as a link. There's nothing to download except a URL. So in that case, you have to use a link.
You know what, Tom, this is a really, really good point. The ebooks are available on a web page, and because of that, so it's not a downloadable PDF book. Just to be clear on that, it's browser independent, and that's why we went that way. You can read the story on your iPad, on your phone, on your PC. So it's platform independent, but it's not a PDF document that you download on a device, just to be clear on that. And because of that, it opened creative flexibility going forward, include animations in our stories and all sorts of really, really cool stuff.
Okay, is there, what's the average file size of the attachment, and can it be sent via MMS text successfully?
From memory, they're a couple megabytes. I mean, Tommy, probably, since you've been playing with them quite a bit, probably 3-4 megabytes would probably be my best guess right now. I could cheat and just look in a folder somewhere, but they're relatively small. They would be comparable to decent quality image file, if not smaller, actually. So it is definitely sendable by text, obviously. It's like it's the same as a picture in terms of size, very similar.
Okay, so here's a kind of a follow-up. What's interesting? So has there been any feedback about sharing to social media? I believe Instagram needs a GIF to be converted to a video file, for example. Would the customer share the URL versus the actual GIF file?
Usually the URL is I mean, especially with Instagram doesn't support GIFs, by the way, and as I think it was pointed out, they support video format, and we're looking at potentially putting video. What's too bad with video is that they don't necessarily have the looping going on and all that. So in terms of a URL, I would have to look on each platform, but I think we obviously encourage our customer to share the actual GIF, but it can be shared as a link also.
Okay, and now Penny, I see that you have your hand raised, so I'm going to give you.
And just before you go on
Oh,
there,
sorry. Yep.
Robert, is it true that the link is out there for a year? I think that's what Marc-Andre told me that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is now. I mean, if there's a requirement to have it longer, it's just a setting in our system. And that's something we can look at. And again, once you do have your GIF and you download it on then it does, because the GIF is a package item. So once you have it, if you download on your device, you're download it to your email or phone or whatever, you have it forever, and then you can share it. When you track the shares and landing page and you use our buttons, then we can track that. But once you've downloaded it, then you share it with your friends and family, then it becomes invisible to our data tracker. Yeah, I mean, the is really meant for one download it and put it in your whatever in your file, camera roll, and so on.
So Penny, I believe I have unmuted you if you would like to ask a question.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I have one more for Robert. So if we were to send the link, are they able to download it directly from the link as opposed to sending the attachment?
Yeah, the way, let's say you get a link, that link will bring you to what we call a landing page, and on that landing page you have all the buttons that allow you to download it, share it, text it, all the usual things that somebody would want to do with an image. So you can, right from that page, you can say, go download, I want it now. You can do I know on an iPhone, you can do a long click, and you just say save to save phone or save to library. I can't remember exactly what it says, but you can definitely save it right from there. You don't need necessarily to go to another link to get it to your device.
Okay. And Pat, the questions I had for you were,
Yes.
so did I understand correctly that you would go to this Connect and you could pick which products you wanted? And does that then create the products in your products gallery?
So I'm going to let Kathy, I think you're still with us. Are you still with us? I was going to say I'm going to let Kathy answer that. Well, maybe she's not still with us.
Yeah, she's right there.
Visually.
There,
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Yeah. You know what? I thought I had come back on camera and I didn't. So yeah, that question was that relative to selecting products in the cloud catalog?
No, I apologize. This would be the 36 Connect.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
there's
sorry.
I
okay.
apologize. I should have clarified.
No. We're talking, you know, two different terms, two different meanings of the term connect. No
Okay.
problem.
that's okay. Okay, so then ask me that question again, Penny. I'm sorry.
So the gifts, for example. So I know that you went into the 36 Pix Connect window
Mhm.
and you could look at the product gallery, the offerings. Do you have to start by creating a product in like just a box in DP2 as a product,
Yes.
and then you link it to the product?
Yes. So what you do is, well, here, let me share DP2. Hold on. Can't imagine. Because I had to get rid of that. I know. All right. So in the Cloud CT window, what I'm going to need to do, and I've got a lot of products that were already created, but I just, I'll drag one up that I don't, or I can just create a new one. Yeah, maybe I won't take the time to do that, but it could be any product, and I'll just grab a print product. Pay no attention to the products that I'm using, right? Because I'm just kind of going to grab something. So let's say that I pick any product. Doesn't even matter. I'm just going to use one of the test layouts. After you've already set up your events and after you've already done kind of this background work, right, your events and whatever sequence you want in your events already set up, you really only need to come here. So I drag the product up here, right? Now this product, what I would have wanted to do was make sure that I had that output spec down here. Now this output spec would only get me so far. I would need to go .gif, right? And then I'm just going to save it. I'm not going to run this. I'm not going to worry too much about it. That piece I would need to do ahead of time. That's all I would have to do. Well, obviously the product would have to be what you want it to be, right?
Well, that was actually my question. So do I have to set the product up to be the specs of the gift?
No. Well, yes. Okay. So in the output spec, yeah, you got to do .gif. Yep.
but the size of the product is somewhat independent of the output. Ideally, you won't send them a 10 megabyte file, but they actually search for the head inside of there. So even this product, that's one of our sample products, it's got a mask and other stuff. They do actually find the head in there, and it still works. But you would be setting up a product that's basically just an empty background.
So it would just be a product with one image node that would insert image here or whatever.
Yeah,
And
so
then
actually,
I think you said the name has to be in there.
so when
Well,
I was, oh, go ahead.
A couple of the products need metadata like the first name, but most of them don't. So in general, you won't be putting in the name or anything like that. You'll just be putting in the image that you need.
I gotta get rid of some of this stuff. Hang on a second.
Your delay on those windows, by the way, is because you're hooked into the Kodak Alaris VPN.
Well, not only that, but it's also because of the bandwidth here, which I know we're having some problems. It's annoying again. And go to webinar doesn't help. I think it's,
Like I noticed the Cloud CT window took a long time to open up, but that's
Yeah.
because of the Kodak Alaris VPN. If you were off that, it should be instant when it opens.
yeah, it has been really fast. I haven't seen any delays at all, really. So the only thing that I'm going to do here, Penny, is just go ahead and, select the entire background, create an image node, and I'm pretty much done. Then it's just
Actually, normally, Pat, you wouldn't even create the image node, right? Because you want to be able to create transparent GIFs. So you're just going to put the image in the background.
So this is something that Tom and I well, I discovered earlier, Tom probably already knew it, but was I had been putting image nodes in here. And when there were a couple of, I had a transparent PNG, and of course it came up white because I had an image node in there instead of having it in the background. So, yep, so I could just delete this node and pretty much be done. Give it an output.
Put a prompt on it so that you can drag to it. But
Tom and
here.
Pat, is it fair to characterize it this way? Is there's a fairly loose requirement between the 36 pix product and the DP2 product? Like, we don't need to know all the details of their GIF and the dimensions. We just need to get an image up.
Exactly what I was saying.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's
we just
correct.
need to get an image up, and any data that maybe some of their GIFs need to have a text field. So it's really only those two things, and the rest of the stuff is very loose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Some of their future products, you know, you might be putting some rendered thing in there that's even 2 images, like that one Valentine one. You know, there could have been 2 sweethearts in that Valentine, which was, you know, so. But when we're just talking about these GIFs where you see the person's head or their body or something like that, you're just sending them just something like this with transparency turned on, so that it's already cut out for them.
So you don't have to make that like any transparency in the chroma key or anything like that. You can just leave that ride.
You will if you want that cutout look. If you don't have a green screen cut image, then you're going to see in some of those products that they've done a head crop right around the head, but you'll see some of the background, which in some of the products, it doesn't make any difference, because like if they have the hat on,
Yeah, I wouldn't see it anyway.
the person's behind, you know, the hat, so everything works fine. But there's a couple ones like where you were popping out of the birthday cake, that if you didn't use a chroma key image, then you'd see the background also popping out. Just the amount of it that was right around the ears and the head.
So then we would have to set the chroma key to transparent?
Well, you'd have to set the product to produce what's called a transparent PNG. That's what they want to receive. So here's a good example. That's a chroma key cut image, and she designed that product to render a transparent ping. So you can see there's nothing around the head except what you'd expect to see behind it. But in real life, there's probably a background on that image, and if you didn't have a chroma key image, then in this case, you'd see just a little bit of the background right around the head, because they would be cropping down as close as they could. So for this kind of product, you ought to be much better with a green screen type image, but it's not absolutely required.
Yeah, and then again, when you turn on the products on the Cloud CT platform, you will be presented with a bunch of different types of animation, and some of them we're just looking for the face, and we did that exactly for the case where you don't necessarily have a PNG, so those will work with any image, but the ones that we're actually keeping part of the body, those we're expecting a PNG. Not that the system's not going to work without it, but it's not going to look right. So again, depending, you know, if you want to use some of these products, we probably work with you and saying, well, if all your images are already kind of knocked out, then everything's available. If not, then it might be one of your selection criteria to what you would use.
The one right below it's a good example.
Yeah,
Pat.
this one here.
Right below it. Right below that.
Oh, right below this.
Yeah,
one.
no, the shark,
This-
shark out of the screen one.
This
Yeah.
shark.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that one would look funny if part of the background was around it, right?
yeah, it wouldn't work.
Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Excellent. So I actually had 2 questions. I think I'm going to start with the easier one because that should be pretty quick. So generally in DP2, is there a way currently, or could there be a way to customize or filter the subject info data table, like per user, where there could be maybe a drop down or something where I could say, like, if I'm working on just composites, I can only see, you know, the relevant 10 columns that I need at that time?
What would define the 10 relevant columns?
So like at Barksdale, we have probably 100 in there. There's a lot. So say like I needed first name, last name, teacher, homeroom, and then we have a couple like group number columns that we've created. And they're like at opposite ends of the table. I just want to know if there was a way, aside from just collapsing the columns every time.
Okay, so for any of our tables with a fairly simple script override, just kind of like a one-line script override, you can control which fields we see in what order you see them. So we don't have any fancy user interface that says only show me these and that kind of stuff, but basically we just need this one little line that tells us which fields you want to see in which order.
Yeah, I understand that. I was hoping to get something that wasn't permanent, where I could just have a drop down and switch between a couple different views.
Yeah, you could put that in as a feature request.
Okay.
There's obviously nothing like that in there now.
Got it. All right, and now my slightly more complicated one. In the changes PDF that I was reading through for the latest version of DP2, I thought I saw something in there mentioned about when you're deleting old jobs, there was something where you had to delete the entire job, but it also took all the images with it. So I guess my question is, we're looking at reducing the unneeded storage for jobs older than 3 years, for example. I want a way to leave the images and the data in DP2 so that they can still order old jobs from our storefront, but I want a way to remove all of the order items and anything else that's just taking up space that doesn't need to be there.
So you want to delete the order, and I think we ask you questions about what images to delete and so on, but you want to delete an order and just delete the order items, is that it?
Yeah, but on a grand scale.
Oh, you mean like based on time or date or something?
Yeah, basically, like, our idea is anything older than 3 years, probably. We'd want to go through and just clear up some of the storage.
Not a bad idea, just treat it as a feature request. Come in through service desk and put it in.
Okay, thank you.
I think we have reached the end of our What's New session for version 24. And I want to thank all of the customers for being here. It's really nice to but at least we're able to sort of say hi and hope you're all well and safe. And I'll kind of give it to the panel if anybody wants to say anything or kind of end our session, and then we're ready to go.
I'd like to just thank Robert for joining us today and bringing the whole Cloud CT service and working with us on the integration. So thank you, Robert.
Well, thank you for having me. That's really appreciated. Looking forward to the future in a post-COVID world. Hoping for the best, and I hope everybody stays healthy.
Thank you, everyone.
Nice job, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Guys. You guys are always a great help.
Oh, thanks, Penny. And we'd love a workshop too. Believe it. We'd love to be hanging out at the bar with y'all. Did I say that? All right. Take care,
Bye now.
everyone. Bye-bye.
All right, everybody.
Bye.
See you now.